Well, Sergio, you once told me that the first piece you played of Rachmaninoff, or the first concerto of Rachmaninoff, you touched and played in at the conservatoire, probably even for the examination, was the third concerto.
Yes, not for the examination,
I see.
actually. For the examination in the conservatoire, Rachmaninoff is not included, because it was so new when I
At that
got
time,
my degree,
yeah.
that he was not in the list of
Mhm.
author composer you could play.
But at that time you knew him already.
Yes, because I had been in touch with the American Army, and especially in this occasion with the Navy.
Mhm.
I was playing for American troops.
Mhm.
You know, we had to do something because the situation was not very.
Well, you had to
Yes,
eat,
that's right.
etc.
And
Well,
so
we know that from Germany.
I got involved in the U.S. Army Special Service,
Mhm.
which was a sort of an entertainment for troops, and especially for wounded in the hospitals.
Mhm.
And so I met many officers with which loved music, and got well in a sort of good harmony
See.
with some of those. And I remember there was a man, very nice man. His name was Captain Harrigan,
Mhm.
and he was the commander of the carrier Randolph, which
Mhm.
was in the harbor.
Carrier?
Carrier, yes.
I see. Carrier was it carried aeroplanes.
Yes.
Ah, I
yes.
see.
And he met me, I met him, and we had well some words together, and got a good sort of friendship. So he told me if I had ever heard Rachmaninoff playing. I said
You hadn't
no.
up to that moment. You hadn't.
No, never. We didn't have records coming from
Yeah, right,
the
yeah.
USA at the time, so we only knew Italian and German pianists.
Mhm.
So I said no, I have never. And so he was so kind. He went to America. They were always going
Yeah.
from here to there. And when he came back, he brought me the record of the third concerto, Rachmaninoff
I
third
see.
concerto.
Yeah. At that time on 78s still, I think.
Seven,
On
yes,
78s,
yes. It
Shellac,
was
yeah.
10 records.
well,
Yes,
yeah.
yes, quite a bit. And so that was the first time I could hear Rachmaninoff play, and that was a shock because
Oh, really?
no one played that way,
Yeah.
in that special way. It was completely new,
Mhm.
a new way for me at least, because I was used to different schools, different way of playing, very structural and all these things,
Yeah.
and so I could see what it was, the difference with the old Russian school, which I think was very good at the
Mhm.
time.
Not the over-exaggerated thing which we
No,
would
no,
understand
no,
now as
no.
being
The
Russian.
I think that Rachmaninoff was a sort of precursor in this, because he was modern.
Mhm.
If you just think that he was born in 1873, they all played, lots of rubato and sort of horrid, well, not very seriously. I would say, according to our concept of music, he was always very, he had a lot of rallentando, rubato, and all those things, but in a very convincing way, musical.
Mhm.
Above all, musical. Everything had a reason. He didn't do anything which might seem strange just for the sake of it, but just because he felt it was right.
Mhm.
And so I was really captured by this. And so then after a while, he went back again and wrote me the second concerto,
Mhm.
which began to be popular in Europe. So I had a chance to listen to the second concerto before I got the records. But when I heard Rachmaninov playing his second concerto, that was completely different music from what we were used to listen to by other pianists. So it was very mellow, very ultra romantic, almost on the decadence rather than romantic. And he had such a noble way of playing it. Well, I was struck by his way of playing.
Is there a way that you can demonstrate the difference between what you heard and what Rachmaninov?
In a way, it's not very easy, naturally. But well,
just to give an idea.
The first,
because
yes, the first cantabile. This one is, you know. All this go and go back and all these things. He would play this. Sentimentality, which is not very good in music to have. He was feeling the phrase, he was following the breath of the phrase, but in a very aristocratic manner, I would say, as he would always play everything. I never found anything vulgar in his way of playing. It was always. And everything had a sense. Nothing was just to make something different. But just because he felt it that way. He was very personal, naturally, by playing his music, and he was in the same way personal when he played other composers' music. But I think he had a great respect for music, so he never outgone, made something which might seem strange, save that in the first records he made. Yeah. That means since 1923 to 1927, I think. He had a completely different way of playing, rather sentimentalistic or something like that. And then he made a complete change. He was not very accurate technically also. He missed many notes. He played, just as the way a composer generally plays. And then after that, I think that depends on the fact that he didn't want. When he went to America, it was just because of the revolution and all these things. But he wanted to be a composer. Mm-hmm. He didn't want to be a pianist. Mm-hmm. So he went in America just to have success as a composer. And he was asked to play because everyone knew that he was a great pianist. But he didn't want to. So he played very badly because he didn't practice and he played the way it goes, Then he must have understood that his future was more on pianism than composing, and then he got to practice on the piano, and he played wonderfully as he did since his death. The last record he made was one of the last was the Rhapsody on Paganini. Well, exceptional technically, and also he played some small pieces, a sort of lullaby by Tchaikovsky, which is so delicate, so wonderful, and he played beautifully. Among the most important thing he played is the Chopin B-flat minor sonata and
Carnival.
Schumann Carnival. Schumann Carnival was a sort of recreation of the carnival, but in the good sense. He changed something. He always changed something in his music and other people's music, but always to get something, to get something that he wanted to put in music, and well, also he played all his preludes, etudes, tableaux. He played many things which were not very keen to his personality, his way of playing. He played some Debussy, and that was not his composer. Played some Bach, Beethoven. That was not very convincing, because different school, different culture, and different feeling. But in romantic music, well, I think few pianists could play it that way. With that's what strikes you is first the rhythmic impulse he gives to music. It's like a machine, not in the physical sense, but he never stops. The rhythm is always live, is never dead, and also the way he presses the keys, the way he gets the sound. Never, a half sound like would be something like this. He would play like this. This was his way to touch the piano. And that was very important to know for me, because no pianist had that way of playing that kind of sound, which was beautiful, really beautiful. He would even in the pianissimo, for instance, in the second concerto, the second movement, everyone plays this like this. Like Claire de Lune, or he would play like this. Giving a meaning, a sense to every note. Every note had a scope. There was not any note which didn't mean anything. Every note had a role in the musical phrase, and that's very important. It was a sort of discover. I discovered a new way to make music and to play the piano musically. Well, apart his technique was terrible, was enormous, but what told me was the feeling toward music he had when he would extract all the sound from the piano to transform it in music. That was exceptional, really exceptional. I think no pianist, Levin or Horowitz, well, he has attempted sometimes to have the same kind of sound, but he couldn't. He had different sound. No one could get that kind of sound, which was absolutely, well, capturing, And so I got to love his way of playing. About his music is not great music, we must say. It's very pleasant, it's melodic, it's rather easy to understand, to follow. It's not great music. But the way he plays it changes it completely. If you would hear any of his preludes or etudes, tableaux played by any pianists of today, sound completely different. They lose any kind of interest because they were composed for that kind of playing. If you separate the music from the way it's played, that is a kind of music that doesn't stand up by itself. It has to be pushed by sound. You see, very few composers can compose music which can stand by itself. Probably the only one was Bach. You can play Bach on a piano, on a drum, or a tabla. It's Bach. But even Mozart or Beethoven, if you would try to play, I don't know, a musical phrase for piano on a violin, that it doesn't work. Bach, you can play in every way, it's absolute music. So it stands by itself. Rachmaninov music is tied to the way it's played. If it's played in the right way, well, it's good music. If not, it's nothing. It's nothing. Just, well, a nice melody like a song. This could be a song. If it's not played in the right way, or the second idea of the third concerto, for instance, that many play like this. And it gets so sad. So, and he would play it like this. So that every note has a meaning, means something. That's his secret of his way of playing. We can try and completely.
Now you have developed how you came to Rachmaninoff in a way. Let me become a little bit particular. You had known this captain or this commander,
Yes.
and he supplied you with
Yes,
records.
with records, yes.
And then how did the whole story develop? You started to like Rachmaninoff's, let's say, third concerto.
Yes.
And so you had to get the score. How did you get the score?
The score I had from America.
Where?
From America.
You're from America.
All
also.
Schirmers. I had all 4 concertos.
And so you were busy working on that piece.
Oh yes,
probably.
yes. I wanted to try to see if it was possible to not imitate, because imitating is stupid. Has no sense. But go deep into the music the way he did.
Yeah.
He did. So to give value to anything he did on the piano. And so, well, I got the preludes, the etudes tableau, and it was a sort of discovery, you know. And so, when you are, well, let's say 18, 19, you are full of enthusiasm. And so I was, well, reading all I could about this kind of music, and I found myself completely involved in this. And well, it was good. It was a sort of challenge, you know, because it's difficult music.
So the third concerto was the first one of Rachmaninoff you studied?
Yes, the first thing I played in public. Because I played
Because at that time, as you may know, if there were competitions, even in later times in Tchaikovsky competition, the concerto was the Tchaikovsky concerto, and it has been replaced gradually by Rachmaninoff's third, because it's more difficult.
Naturally.
But at that time, it was absolutely a new piece, I think.
Yes,
to
for Italy
Europe,
it was completely new.
except for Gieseking, who did it, but
Yes,
as a German pianist.
Right.
So you studied the thing, and then you played it in public. With whom did you play it? There should have been an orchestra, etc.
Yes, the Scarlatti orchestra.
Scarlatti.
Then it was not a chamber orchestra; it was a symphonic orchestra. So it could afford that kind of music, and it was the first public
presentation.
Presentation that I had immediately after the degree. It was the first public concert.
That was in '46.
That was in, yes, I think, immediately after the degree. Then might be October, November of 46.
Who conducted at that time, was it?
Caracciolo, which was the chef conductor of the Scarlatti. And, well...
I would guess it went well, and it was a great success.
It did. Oh, yes, but the critic obviously didn't like the concerto.
I see.
They said it was a sort of, music without a sense, without nothing, because they were not prepared with. Rachmaninoff is now, I don't know if rightly or not, is more considered as a musician. But then it was, they would destroy it as a musician. They were tied to New School, Schoenberg, Webern and all those things. Well, they rightly say that in the same period when he wrote these things, Stravinsky was writing in complete different way.
Mhm.
That's true,
Mhm.
but that was his way. He was very sincere. He felt that way and he wrote that way. And I think that's something that you have to admire. If you feel to do something and you don't force yourself to do something because others are expecting this from you. He was just trying to put on the piano and music what he felt inside. It was that way. Well, I think it's very honest and very, very good. And also, the music is not, well, it's not great music, naturally. A Beethoven concerto Rachmaninov can't stand Beethoven, Mozart or Schumann concerto, obviously. But it's very, very well written. He was a good musician. He knew the orchestra perfectly. He knew the piano even better. And so, well, it's music. It's music. Doesn't belong to this century probably, but who cares?
No.
It's
Nobody,
music.
no.
That's all.
At least today nobody cares,
Well,
more or less.
of course, of course.
And then the second concerto was the one you started on next,
Yes,
I think.
yes,
touched.
after, yes, because I went for, in 1947 probably, I can't remember now exactly, I went for 1 month in Salzburg, where Zeki was having a summer course. And at the end of the course, I played the second concerto with the Salzburg Orchestra, and a young conductor
who was also
yes,
the conducting
yes,
conductor.
that's right.
I see.
That's right.
But
So,
did you study the concerto with Zeki?
no,
No,
no, no,
it
no,
was
no.
just-
We made all different things. But then he asked me if I would like to play with orchestra, and I had the Rachmaninov second, so I played that one.
Well, after the second, there are two more concertos, you know, naturally.
Yes.
The first and the fourth,
first
and then
one.
the Paganini Rhapsody.
And the Paganini Rhapsody, yes.
Was there a kind of sequence, or did at that time did you have all the scores and had everything?
Yeah, yes, I had all. I knew all of them. I did play the first time the third and then the second. Then I think immediately after I played the fourth in England. Yes, the fourth. And then I played the first in Italy with in Rome with the Rai Orchestra. And then I played still for the radio, for the Italian radio. I played the Rhapsody, and that completes the lot. Then I have had other occasion to play them again. But this was the first performance I made of these concertos.
And if you now think about the four concertos, which would you consider to be musically, etc., the best or the most, which expresses most Rachmaninoff's way, his
Yes,
soul or
yes.
his mind?
Well, it's difficult to say what is the most in the Rachmaninoff way. I think the most complete of the concertos is the third.
The third.
Yes, it's the best structured. It's complete concerto. The second concerto is very nice. It's very good melody. But well, the history is rather strange. He was not.
Yes.
He had to have some cure and some.
Recover.
And so he started with the third movement.
Mhm.
Then he went on the first and second movement, so it was not completed in the regular way. The third concerto is a bit too long, we can say, probably.
He made cuts, or he
Yes,
proposed cuts.
but I think he made it for recording purposes because it was too long. Anyway, it's a complete concerto. It's very good, very good. It has good melodies and section technically very interesting, and it's very well written. The orchestra is powerful, and so the piano stands on a good
Right.
supporting orchestra. The fourth concerto is the last one. The idea probably was very good, but the inspiration was gone, I think. Well, the critics who have written about Rachmaninoff have always said, and I think it's true, that as any Russian people, when he's extracted from his country, lose some part of his spirit and all those things. And so it happened with Rachmaninoff. Rachmaninov wrote very few things when he was in America, and not very good. Not very good. The best production he had was when he was still in Russia. The history of the third concerto, I think, was that he went to America to play for a tour, and he promised he played the second concerto. He promised them that next time he would come with a third concerto, and so he did.
He dedicated to Hoffman,
Yes.
you know, and Hoffman never played it.
No.
It wouldn't fit him or one.
No, well, the same sort of Tchaikovsky concerto, which was a Bülow said it couldn't be played.
Yeah, and
Yes.
Bülow premiered it,
That's right,
Tchaikovsky and another. It was Nikolai Rubinstein.
Yes.
He told us
Yes.
it's rubbish.
Right. Exactly.
Well, I would like to start now with the first concerto, because well, this is a typical romantic concerto
Yes,
with
yes.
the opening. It's a youthful work, as you
Mhm.
know. It's Opus 1. Is there anything particular which you can say about the first concerto, its construction, or its probably the models on which Rachmaninov has modeled this concerto? There must be influences from other
No, I
composers.
don't.
What do you think it's
No, actually, I
original?
don't think so.
Oh,
Because the first concerto had a first score printing, which was very long,
mhm,
and then it was completely remade.
mhm,
Remade, I can't remember when, but later on, and so it was more shorter.
concise,
Yes,
mhm.
and no one of the Rachmaninoff concerto is similar to others.
Mhm.
They're all different.
Mhm.
The first one is full of romanticism. Yes, it's just the it's a very young concerto. The second is more meditated. He had to think, I think. Also, he was coming out of the disaster of the first symphony,
Yes,
so he stopped composing. Then, well, he went to Dr. Dahl to have cures, and he dedicated to him. And it's completely different from the first and from the third. Completely different. It's rather, if the first is strictly romantic, we can say the second is on the decadent side,
mhm.
and also the last idea of the third movement is not very. That's sounds strange for a Russian to use this kind of harmonies. So musically, it's not. The second movement is it's very sweet, very nice, very good. The melodic line is very good, very ample. The third concerto is not as much melodic. There's less melody, much more rhythm, and a sort of colloquial way with the orchestra. The piano is integrated in the orchestra, where you have a sort of separation.
You think it's more symphonic?
Yes, it's a book.
Well, it's
right.
have the name of Brahms. He also created kind of symphonic concertos
Yes,
in
yes.
that way a little bit.
I think
Yeah.
so. Well,
Yeah.
obviously the piano is the most of it.
Dominant. Yeah.
But it stays in the orchestra. They're one into the other. The other one is sort of, contrast between orchestra and piano. In the third concerto, there is a sort of cooperation with piano and orchestra. So I think it's much more complete. Also, the structure is better. The second movement is particularly interesting. The melody is lovely. You see that it is more aristocratic in his line rather than this different on a different level. This is more contained, and then as that little waltz into it, and the third movement, well. It reminds very closely, I must say. I don't think it was made on purpose, but the Grande Pasqua Russa by Rimsky-Korsakov starts just in the same manner like the. And then, this is Rachmaninov, this is Rimsky-Korsakov. It starts just in the same way. Well, probably it was just a case.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's a very noble melody, this one. One of those fluent Rachmaninov melodies which seems to be endless. They will never. Well, it's very well brought out. Only perhaps the middle part, the one doesn't tie very much with the rest of the concerto. It's just a sort of scherzo into the third movement. But anyway, it's very well written.
Well, just regarding this last movement, you know that he made or he proposed several cuts in the score. You can optionally cut something or leave it in or put it out.
I don't think he well, he actually didn't, because when it was printed, there was no cuts were premiered. But he played that with cuts, I think, because it was 1078 records. It would have been 14 probably if he had. He made some slight cut in first movement as well. And in the second movement, just before gets on this, but two pages are cut of the. But I think it was probably he thought it was too long, probably I don't know. But since he has remade some his earlier composition, like the second sonata and first concerto. And fourth concerto as well. I think if he really wanted to have it shorter, well, he would have made a new edition, and he didn't. So probably it was all right the way it was. But nowadays, for instance, with LP, no one make cuts in this concerto.
Well, many do, in fact, I must say. Many pianists.
Today?
Yes, strangely enough, many do. But many others don't.
Oh, well, they should not, I think.
Well, yes.
They should not, I think. Horowitz made the same cuts, for instance, but for the same reason. It was too long. It was a battery of 78 records, and that cost a fortune.
Well, talking of different versions, you know that there are two versions of the cadenza. One printed in big notes and in ossia, the small notes.
That's right.
Have you an idea why he did compose two cadenzas of, at least with regards to the first part, very different character? They mix in a way later on, but
the character is not different. The musical line is the same, only it's bigger. It's played like this, with chords and all those things, and probably it's a bit too noisy. He played the simpler one, which is not so simple, so to say. Yes. and I think it's the best. It's the best one. The other is too much sound, and also when they get one into the other, this one goes better. The other one is sort of restricted.
Yeah.
And
Kind
this
of
one fits the
anticlimax when you have heard a lot of noise before and then comes
Yes.
still,
yes,
whereas the
yes.
other develops
Right,
more into
right.
the
So
bigger sound.
yes,
Yeah.
it gets there, and then is the development. The other one has the development before and then ends. So I don't think it's a really good one. It is a good cadenza, obviously, but I would rather say he himself, he was in condition of playing the other, but he played that one because probably, and also this one is written in full notice. The other is in small notice, so it's considered well as a second choice.
What do you think about the first bars of the second concerto? Have they any musical meaning for the rest of the movement, or is it just a very catching? Catches the ear, catching
so,
introduction.
You know, that's typical of Russian composer and Rachmaninov in particular, the sound of bells, which don't come in the concerto anymore. This anything could prepare the. You don't need that. You could compose any 8 bars in any kind. He chose this now. I don't think it's strictly tied, because you can find it nowhere in the rest of the concert.
It's just like in the Tchaikovsky first concerto, which also introduces
Yes,
a melody which
right.
never appears again.
Right. And then, yes. Yes. I think so. Only this is shorter.
Yeah. Well,
then it goes into the main theme, which is very nice. Better than this. The second idea is a little more, on the melodic side. But this one is very good. Develops good.
Do you think that Rachmaninov, he was a great pianist, he had a great technique, are his compositions, especially the concertos, which are reckoned also, at least the third, as very difficult, are they really difficult in the way a pianist, a great pianist, would think of a difficult piece?
Yes, I think so.
But they were written by a great pianist, and if somebody knows the piano so well as Rachmaninov did, it might appear that he wrote difficult works, but works which could be played always in a pianistical way. They're laid out for the piano.
I see what you mean.
Unlike other composers,
Yes,
probably.
we can say that, for instance, some piano music composer don't write very well for the piano.
Like Prokofiev, let's say.
Well, like Brahms, like Schumann.
Okay.
They're not essentially difficult. They're not uncomfortable
Mhm.
to play. Brahms sometimes it's not difficult, but well, it's not pianistic.
Mhm.
Liszt and Rachmaninov and Chopin, not as so difficult as that, wrote for the piano wonderfully in the way that it is difficult, but it can be done.
Mhm.
Only Rachmaninoff music played in the right way demands on pianists a great courage.
Mhm.
I can remember Horowitz. Well, Horowitz, for instance, Horowitz was a great pianist, obviously. But when he goes to the finale of the third concerto, whereas Rachmaninoff takes the risk to play the Lumpe, Horowitz makes not to miss. Yes. So this is the kind of difficulty you have to, and also there's well, it's difficult, but you can play it because it's very well written. Sometimes in the Etude tableau or other pieces, he just forgot that not all pianists have a hand as big as the one he had, and sometimes he plays some chords like this with one hand, which for it's well you need a hand like this. Almost impossible. He could do it. He could play this together, pianissimo, the end of the polka. Well, for instance, I can't. I should play arpeggiato because not all pianists have such a big hand. But for what, well, regarding just the technique, the difficulty of the fingering and all these things, or they come. You don't have to bother, to see the first finger, the third finger. It comes natural. It goes natural. Even in the difficult parts, you find your fingering. It goes. Some parts are difficult, very difficult. There's, for instance, very risky, naturally. If you want to play, you must take the risk.
Well, thank you.
It was a pleasure.